I have to notice that the culture at Twitch is slowly shifting. Things that couldn't have been said 3 years ago are now being said. People aren't as united ideologically. I don't see Twitch streamers calling each other colleagues, trying to get each other canceled over takes. And now you can finally have like more common sense. You can say things that are true, but at the same time they're offensive. And here you have Asmongold saying something that almost every Romanian of my generation knows, because we grew up with the mindset that was given to us by the communists. And not everything that the communists said was incorrect. And so here you have Asmongold saying society would instantly and dramatically improve if we took the bottom 5 to 10% most retarded kids out of school and put them into the coal mines instead. And the reason that I say that this is something the communists in Romania would say is because they had the phrase, one rotten apple spoils the bunch. And they also created the idea of social contagion. So if you have a couple of people misbehaving in a classroom, it gets the kids that do behave, it gets the kids that are there to study, to begin turning into delinquents as well. And you can see this happening in the United States. I mean, just a couple of months ago, there was a viral video on Twitter with a student that beat up a teacher. Right? Like, this would be unfathomable in communist land. Like, that student would immediately be taken by Securitate to a facility where he would have to reflect as he is applied the correction. Right? You don't beat a teacher. Like, that would be something extremely serious for the society as a whole. It would be something that the party would crack down upon. And even after communism, like, that would remain. Like the very concept that you could lift your hand against a teacher would be beyond unthinkable. The parents would be summoned. Like they would be told to explain how it came to this. Like, at which point in their education did they fail so hard that a student beat up a teacher? Meanwhile, in the United States, I mean, sure, he is taken to the police, but it's not a big deal, It's just like, oh, yeah, well, that happened. I mean, of course it happened, right? Like, it was a school in Illinois. I mean, obviously, like, that's what happens in Illinois. But the reason it happens in Illinois is because you allowed it to get to that point. Like, had you have, I don't even know if you should say less compassion, but, like, if you had more tough love, then perhaps that is the true compassion, because now that student wouldn't be in prison. Now that teacher wouldn't be in the hospital. And now his classmates wouldn't think that violence towards teachers is acceptable. Or like, they could even have their mind thinking that it can happen in any universe. But that's an extreme example, right? Like, this is the extreme example when you say that a student beat up a teacher. What I do see, and this is like almost constant in the United States, is that the students are misbehaving to the point where the teacher is in the class and the students are ignoring the teacher. They're talking to each other. They're on their smartphones. Sometimes they're even fighting with each other while the teacher is there, right? This is the 5 and 10%. Because I guarantee to you, like, if you give me the most well-mannered, well-behaved child in existence and you put him in that class, he's not going to study math. There's no fucking way. And even if you're the school principal and you bring, like, the most talented math teacher in the universe, he's not going to be able to teach. Like, you can't teach students that don't even have the basic discipline to sit up and listen to the class. Right? Like, if they're talking to each other, if they're on their smartphone, if they're beating each other up while the teacher is there, there is absolutely nothing a teacher can do in order to get those kids to study math. And like, the fact that people aren't horrified, it's like, what is the point in even going to school? If it's not about studying math, if it's not about learning how to read and write, like, you're just sending your kid so that he can beat up with other kids and watch their smartphone and stuff, like, might as well just keep them home, right? And this is like the thing that every single Romanian in my generation knows, because our mothers at some point taught us. Like, this is something part and parcel of being from my generation. They would tell you, it's like, look, you're going to school to learn shit. The reason you want to learn shit is so that when you grow up, You have a stable job in an office with air conditioning. That's well paid. Okay? You don't have to do that. If you don't want to have like the well-paid job, you can toil the land. Like, that's also a noble profession. You can be a farmer, you know? And if you're a farmer, it doesn't matter how you speak. It doesn't matter how you behave. You know, as long as you toil the land, you can be a cheeky little shit, go to the tavern, get drunk, you know, to do all the things that you want to do. But it's going to be a lot more difficult. You're going to sit there in the scorching sun. You're going to do backbreaking labor, right? You're not going to get paid as well. And so the idea of school, in my mind, was always as an option. It's like a privilege to go to school. Like, you're going to school in order to avoid doing the backbreaking work. Like, it's to get to that air conditioning room, right? And so when the entire society operates on this mindset, then students themselves have a different approach. But, you know, it is true, like, some people have to do that backbreaking work. In the case of Asmongold, he is saying the mines. Like, obviously, you know, we don't send people to the mines in 2025. In fact, like, going to the mines may actually be a good profession because you now have machinery, right? You don't actually work the mines like you did in the medieval era. You're sitting in an automated machine, and it does the job for you. But the idea of doing backbreaking work still applies, right? Like, you can still pick vegetables, you can still be a farming hand, you can still do all this. Well, in America, actually, you don't even do that because you get the welfare, right? Like, in America, you can actually sit at home, have no job, be unemployed, and the government takes care of you. So, I guess the choice isn't even there, right? Especially if you have the opportunity of having babies with different individuals, and then you get child support from each and every one. Well, you can't really say about going to the mines as a threat. But what Asmongold is talking about, like, this is something that has existed in human culture, and it actually makes a point. Yeah, like, if you have a classroom where 5 to 10% of people are delinquents and they're not being punished in any way, shape, or form, then they are going to drag the entire class down, right? So the parents that do their job, the parents that do have kids that may actually end up breaking up from their economic status, well, they're being at a disadvantage because of the other parents that have these 5 to 10% individuals that are delinquents. Now, of course, you know, not everyone is actually looking into what Asmongold is saying and trying to understand it or trying to even assess if it's true. They're trying to assess, okay, well, first of all, is it against the concept of equality, right? Because, like, you don't have, like, some kids misbehaving and some kids delinquents, right? Like, all kids are the same. Every child in the fucking universe from the age of 1 to 17 is exactly the same. There's no difference. So, like, what Asmongold is saying here is heresy. He says that kids can be different, or kids can be taught, or they can be educated, right? He also uses the word "ar," hard R, especially Hassan. He knows a lot about the hard R's. And he is basically saying it's funny to always imagine that you wouldn't be in the mines if such a scheme were to be implemented. And again, I don't understand why that is a problem. I did imagine being in the mines when I grew up. Yeah, that actually made me work harder. I was like, yeah, I don't want to end up in the mines. And now, like, I was motivated to study even more. Like, that's a good thing, Hassan. That's actually an excellent thing, right? Maybe Asmongold would be even smarter than he is today, right? Like, maybe he would even double his subscription. Maybe he would make arguments even more compelling if he thought when he was young that he would go into the mines if he doesn't study. And so, yeah, no, like, this from Hassan thinks it's a gotcha. It's not. Like, this is actually working as intended. You get the carrot and the stick, right? It's like, you don't want to be in the mines, then don't beat up the teacher. Don't talk during class. Allow other students to study because they don't want to be in the mines either, right? And now it taps into your sense of compassion. It taps into your sense of trying to improve and be better. But what's interesting is that XQC actually dug in, and he is saying that Asmongold isn't referring to mentally disabled children, but actually depicting unintelligent ones. For most people, his opinion about the topic doesn't warrant an ad hominem, but his dead relative. Hope this offers some guidance to the topic. I don't know about Asmongold's dead relative, but I do want to say that even if you're not intelligent, you can still be disciplined, right? Like, just because you're not intelligent doesn't mean you have to beat up the teacher. Like again, in communism, right? Like, we did have students that were unintelligent, that weren't smart. Hell, I went to the classroom with someone that was mentally disabled. Like, for real, couldn't speak properly, was drooling from the mouth. Like, it was a medical condition, not an insult. And so, even those people behaved. Why? Because the government was also focusing on instilling discipline in schools. And even like people that aren't extremely intelligent can know, I need to sit here quietly and not bother the rest of the class, otherwise I get in trouble. Right? Like even if you're, because they're still human beings, right? Like they're still capable of understanding. And so I don't think that what Asmongold is saying cannot be applied just because, like, oh, some people are too stupid. We're talking about learning how to read and write. Like, 5-year-olds can manage, okay? Like, this is not something that's sending rockets into space. We're not teaching people the mysteries of building a Tesla. You have very small expectations, and these expectations carry out in the adulthood. Like, if you can't sit quietly in a bench and study, how are you expected to keep a job? Like, what Asmongold is saying should actually be focused on being implemented. Like, even if it's not happening, maybe it should. And then you have someone else responding. I find it wild. He says horrible things like this about the parent's mentally disabled child, but when people bring up his dead mom, he cries on YouTube about how the world is being mean to him. I don't get it, LOL. Well, let me explain to you, right? It's one thing when you talk about in a general concept, right? You're not talking about anyone. You're basically noticing something about the world, and you're talking about it as a general concept. Now, I don't know if you have kids or not, but like, how would you like it if you have a kid and you're actually spending time parenting and you're actually, you know, doing everything that's supposed and required out of you, and then he goes to school and he joins a gang, or he comes, you know, being influenced by the other kids, and now he's misbehaving, talks back to you, maybe even raises his hand at you. How would you like it? You know, you did everything right. You sent him to school. He learned all those bad behaviors there. Again, when I was a kid, so many parents, including mine, would often say, you're not allowed to play with that kid anymore. And now I understand my parents. You know, like, they would say that, they would see that kid is being a menace, or he is being a delinquent, breaking windows, shit like that. And it's like, okay, I don't want my son to get those behaviors. So, like, they would say, you're not allowed to play with him anymore. And that's, like, true. Like, it's human sociology, you know? Like, human beings copy things from one another. And usually it turns out that the things that are wrong, that the things that are bad, are more likely to be copied than the things that are good. So, like, Asmongold is actually thinking from the perspective, like, maybe I have a kid one day, and how would I like it if this happened to me? And you, as a good parent, should also think like Asmongold. But instead you're thinking, oh, but like, what if I'm one of those parents that don't care about their kids, and I end up with a kid that's delinquent, and now Asmongold is shaming me, right? Asmongold isn't shaming you. He's just stating a fact. He is saying that 10 to 15% of kids that are delinquents are going to make the other kids that are behaving to become delinquents as well. Is that right? Now when you talk about his dead mother, right? Like, you're nominalizing him, you're picking on him personally, and you also want to make sure that he sees it. Asmongold doesn't want people to, Asmongold isn't targeting parents that have actual problem with kids. No, he's stating a fact, right? He's talking in the general sense. Meanwhile, when people go after his mother, they're talking about him, and they're not doing this because they want to reveal the mysteries of the universe or fix a problem that society has, or at least try to find solutions. No, what they are trying to do is to insult Asmongold. Like, there is malice over there, right? Can we not make the difference anymore? Like, do we not live in a world with context and nuances where, like, certain things can be mean, or they can be okay to say based on who you say it, how you say it, the tone of your voice? Like, the context not matter anymore. Anyway, right, I just found this conversation to be intellectually stimulating, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the comment section. And don't forget to check out the pinned comment as well. Take care.